Hey guys, Adana here, and welcome back to something I didn't thought I was hoping to get done earlier. Tried recording this already, it took an hour, so we're just gonna briefly go over everything that needs to be gone over on this Monster Hunter Sunbreak tier list now that I fought everything. But first and foremost, that should be known in terms of difficulty. No anomaly monsters are being counted other than the Risen Elders. This is based on my opinion, and we are taking hazards into account with the exception of Malzeno and Lunaron. Those are the only two I haven't fought. And I have done Volcano a little bit, and I'll say this briefly, I was disappointed. Either way, ignoring that, let's get into the tier list. Let's go over things briefly, and starting off with the bottom tier. I'm pretty sure most people will agree with me with this entire tier of super easy, but will question why Apex Diablos is so low. It's just simply, Apex Diablos is I don't like the Apexes, okay? How much I liked monsters, all the Apexes but two would be at half of the Apexes would be at the very bottom, while the other three would be, I guess, sporadically spread out. But out of all of them, Diablos was the most disappointing, pretty much being, with all the Apexes being soulless deviants that are overall much worse in every way possible, Diablos is the most disappointing. And it's also easier than normal Diablos, which is in difficult, so yeah. The easy tier. These are monsters that people would expect here. Gasmagor and Rajang are immediately two that catch everyone's attention. Rajang in Sunbreak, or even Rise, even for a newcomer player, I'm going to say it now, there should be no reason why you should be struggling with these two monsters. Rajang in particular is a worse offense by far. Rajang is a monster that's known for being difficult, and yet they don't even retain not even a fraction of that difficulty. Rajang is slow in this game compared to normal. He also has way too many openings. Having openings is a good thing. If you were to maybe half that opening time, or even just get rid of the opening time by a quarter, take a quarter of that time away, it would pretty much be already back to normal. But Rajang is so damn slow in this game that there's really nothing else to be said about this. I hate, especially about a monster I genuinely like, but there's no ifs and buts about it. Gasmagor. Yeah, and also Gasmagor. This thing is easy. I'll say this now, compared to Allmother, this is pathetically easy. Compared to normal Narwa and Ibushi, Gasmagor is easier than both of them. There's no, maybe I can see maybe a quest failure or two to this fight, but this fight really is not hard. It's something that it's not hard to do solo. It takes a bit, but it's just a worse Akantor and Yukonlos. Definitely more cinematic than anything. It gets points for that, but that's about it. Both of these monsters, it's you're gonna maybe lose them once or twice and then beat them afterwards. That's how easy they are. They're honestly lucky I didn't put them in super easy, but ultimately I knew I just couldn't do it. Moderate. I know it's hard to see. I don't know why that's so hard to see, but I think it's because of how big this section is. So moderate. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can agree with this tier. Gyrototus is here because honestly Gyrototus is not hard, and I'm gonna say it now, worst Bacillin. It's the worst Bacillin Wyvern in the series, and distinction has no reason to return over Glaceon, honestly. Garen Golem's down here because honestly he's not too hard. Rathalos hits like a Dragonator for sure in Master Rank, but he's definitely down the moderate layer. Oh, I forgot to mention, we're also doing this based on Master Rank only, and like I said, no anomaly monsters, but hazard quests are fine. Or any crazy event quest. But yeah, isn't bad. Gressharag is basically is basically a harder Azuros and Lagombi with a few new things stitched onto it. Basilgeuse is considerably easier in this game than he is in World. He's not raiding you this time, so you don't have any problems. Malzeno, compared to Lunaron, who I consider the hardest of the three lords, Malzeno is not that hard, so you shouldn't have too many struggles with him. Furious Rajang just gets annoying. Furious Rajang is base Rajang, but somewhat done a bit more justice, but overall is still easier he's still easier in this game too. The one thing that helps him is that he does hit really hard and has some pretty tricky attacks, but other than that, he's easy. The metal rafts just aren't too crazy. The silver Rathalos is definitely the harder of the two. Like, they're easier in this game, but in a good way. And that's just for the fact that it's actually a lot more, they're way more manageable, which, this is a good difficulty for them in my eyes. Like, maybe like, with the movement from this game, it helps, but admittedly, like, even without the movement for a certain monster who I'm gonna go over soon, it's not necessary. Like, they just became more fun monsters and actually more manageable. I will admit, they should be up in the difficulty section, but I didn't find them as bad. And honestly, I feel like this is a perfectly fine difficulty. I don't like them in World, but I'm okay with them being a little as tough as they were in World, just making them fun. Seething Basilgeuse is here for the same reason that Basilgeuse is here. I don't have much to say. Velkhana. Velkhana is just easy in this game. Like, it just seems like I'm glad they managed to change her spamming ability. Like, they nerfed her spamming a bit. Her tail jab, I felt like was fine. It didn't need to be nerfed that much, but like, people will probably tell me it's because of the movement of this game, but I'll say it now, it's not the movement. Velkhana, even in general, because I'll be honest, I don't use my wire bugs against Velkhana that often. Maybe I did it in the video that I fought her in, but I really don't use my wire bugs against her, and she's not hard. Like, legit, she is not hard in this game. The only thing that's keeping her from going into easy is because of how hard she gets, and still having a somewhat tricky attack pattern to follow. Being predictable like Malzeno is why she's down here, though. We will talk about the next part of the tier list, though. The difficult part. Let's go over why every monster is here. I already know one of these is going to be a very big hot take. But out of all, Ratna-Kadachi is the bottom of the tier, and quite frankly, Pyre too, because they're both about the same difficulty, honestly. Narakuga is just too slow in this game. Barioth is just annoying, and because Azuros is here, because it's actually a pretty difficult fight, because it's so melee heavy and it stays in your face so much. That's why he's here. Amoldron is always difficult and annoying. Magnum Aloe is difficult. Tigrex is a bit more difficult in this game than he has been. He's just not as fast as he is in, say, GU, because, like, holy fucking shit, why is he, where does his speed come from in that game? I don't think I need to talk about the Shogun too much. It's Bleed and it's a fast monster. Kushaladora, out of all three of these, out of the trio, is the easiest. Teostra is not as bad. Like, his annoyance factor is gone, and he's actually just a fun fight. I will admit, though, his fight in World, while somewhat annoying, was a better fight overall. Chameleos, without any questions, is the hardest of the three. Like, if you fought him enough times, he's definitely the easiest, but Chameleos has poison, and that poison is way more of a danger to you than everything else, considering Chameleos is a lot more AoE spammy than the other two are. So that's why he's above them. The two Misusunes are pretty much up here for the fact that they're just some pretty difficult monsters. Diabolus is difficult no matter what, no matter how you slice it. Diabolus is just a tough fight in general. Gormagala is a fight that, for those who aren't aware of how the fight goes with it, it will be, because if you try sleeping on it, it will slap you into the ground. Lugarman, Zenogre, and Seregios are all kind of tough for a very similar reasoning. Seregios may not have a lot of health compared to the other Mastering monsters, but Bleed and that really crazy attack speed is what gives them the edge. Lunagron and Zenogre have a very unique fighting style that's similar yet very different. Lunagron is also the hardest of the three lords in my eyes, because the two modes really do make that difference, which help it. Lucid Narakuga is basically what base Narakuga should have had for speed. Not as much damage, but the venom spikes make up for it. Astalos is my arm. Astalos is a tough monster no matter how you slice it. This thing, and it also launches you, which isn't so friendly, so stun is going to be something pretty common, because if you launch into a wall with Thunderblade, that's an instant stun, so be careful when fighting Astalos, because Astalos attacks have a lot of range. Okay, thank God they did not knock anything down. Okay, back to where I was with Astalos. Actually, I think I kind of covered everything I need to with him. Just a very fast thunder monster that just hits stupidly hard, and it's quite crazy. They're hard to dodge. Astalos is just there. Espinas is, for those who have not played Frontier, Espinas is actually a pretty unhinged monster. It's definitely toned down, but it's still really tough in this game. really tough hide that you really can only exploit when it's enraged or with Water Blight. It moves with Extreme. It's basically Diablos without the digging, and it also has the AF Rathian firing those fireballs that poison you and paralyze you, as well as Fire Blight. So this guy's gonna be tough. Ibushi, many people don't think Ibushi's that hard. Ibushi actually can get quite difficult in mastering with the ball, especially with how often the damn thing enrages. Like, this is actually a really tricky fight in Master Rank. Shagru is overall a tougher Gormagala, but with the enraged state and the, I guess the second enraged state when it's low on health, it just gets pretty hard really quick. Then we have Risen, Kushala, and Teostra. They're both about the same difficulty. They're just, Kushala can easily be exploited, so can Teostra. Teostra I only say slightly hard just because of all the extra fire that's going around. I don't think many people are going to question why these last 3 Apexes are so high up, because without any questions, these are the 3 hardest ones. Even though Rathalos really isn't that hard in general, but Rathalos just tends to be super annoying. Zinogre is without any question the most difficult of the bunch, though. Apex Yells would be the most difficult during Rampages, but sadly, it's not Rampages. We're talking about actual quests. Violet Misu sitting out of all the normal monsters here is the easiest of them, but don't sleep on it. Like, it literally gives you a defense down for fire damage, so it will. Flaming Espionage is here for the same reason that normal Espionage is here, except the difference is defense down, and its damage it does with that nuke will probably one-shot you no matter what. All Mother is, most people would say it's pretty low on the challenge side, but I don't think many people would disagree with me. Like, All Mother's just hard in general. Like, in Mastering, even if the fight wasn't changed as much, like, it's actually, like, something that you really have to focus on the entire time. Scored Magnum Aloe is pretty much the same way, basically. It's Magnum Aloe with much worse hit zones, it's much faster, and it just goes freaking insane on you. Crimson Glow Valstrax has always been one of the tougher monsters in the game in base Rise, and they just made it even harder in Mastering, especially since its laser tracks you a second time and tries to hit you again. Risen Chameleos is definitely the middle of the ground of the anomaly monsters. It's harder than the other two, and it hits harder than both of them do. But also, that explosion attack with the explosion poison, don't get hit by that, because especially like in the really hard difficult, like in Super Risen EX, that's gonna one-shot you almost no matter what. So, plus Venom's not fun. Like normal Chameleos, Venom is just not fun. Risen Crimson Glow is not that much harder, honestly. It's basically base Valstrax with carpet bombing. Then, without any questions, Amatsu is just does not have much space for you to work with when fighting it, and all of its attacks have been changed significantly compared to the old world, so it's going to be a challenging fight to bring it down. Chaotic Gore is the type of monster that will beat your ass and then do it 20 times over again. Like, this thing is crazy, and that pin will without if you have an upgrade, if your armor's not fully upgraded, and even if it is, it might just one-shot you. Like, if you're post Chaotic Gore, you're not gonna have to worry too much about that, but Chaotic Gore will be a challenging fight. And then the penultimate spot goes to Primordial. Why is Primordial in the penultimate spot, you may ask? Because quite frankly, between Primordial and Risen Shagru, Primordial is not as hard. Like, the hard part of the fight mainly comes at the end, because even though Primordial has pretty much uses what Malzeno would have done if it wasn't afflicted. It's a faster Malzeno with using more of its wings for its fighting style, fighting you more like a knight, meaning its attacks have some pretty gnarly range and just goes absolutely insane in that bloodlust state. The ultimate spot, Risen Shagru. If you guys seen my stream against this when I was doing this fight, you guys know how hard this thing is. Risen Shagru is by far the hardest hitting monster in the game. Like, it's not even funny. This thing will gladly stomp you into the ground and then do it again and again, while quickly blowing you up with its powerful ultimate attack. Like, there's so much AoE and everything going on during this fight. Like, this is by far the hardest fight in this game. But yeah, that's my tier list. Pretty amazing how far we came, huh? Now, let's go over Hazard Quest monsters really quick. The 2 Rajongs don't move. They're disappointing. They were not really changed much. Like, that's just how it was. It just wasn't that interesting. Hazard Volcana was a disappointment. Like, I'm really surprised they did not take the page from Arch-Tempered Volcana and give it that AI. Lunagara and Primordial, I can't say anything about. Haven't fought them. Hazard Lucet was actually really cool. I do like the entire change to its AI. and with it jumping around a lot more. That made the fight a lot harder. Hazard Violet was actually pretty crazy too. Like, especially since it did start immediately with the fire, like, that was actually a crazy fight. Definitely was a tougher one to bring down too. Flaming Espionage, like, the bigger explosion and the frame one charges. No thank you. I'm pretty sure I'm missing one somewhere, but that's really all I'm gonna go for. But yeah, that's the tier list, guys. I'm not gonna do a tier list of, like, monsters I like, honestly, when it comes to this. Because I'm gonna say one thing now. Rise's natural roster, not counting any monsters that are returning monsters. I really wasn't impressed with the roster of monsters in base Rise that were not returning ones. Like, the ones that really stick out to me were Azuchi, Tetradon to a much lesser extent, Somaketh, and I think Bishitin. Like, obviously not counting the two Elders exclusive, like, Abushi and Narwhal were cool. But base Rise just didn't have many impressive monsters at all. Sunbreak attempted to expand upon it. Like, we got some pretty cool cover. Like, the three lords were amazing. Like, there is no... Because they're the monster empathized on the most. But, like... Yeah, Rise just didn't have a... Just doesn't have a particularly memorable roster of monsters. And the monster choices that were brought back were a bit interesting. And just to say this now, because I'm a little spiteful, because someone did mention this to me, that Gammoth was quote-unquote too slow to be in such a fast game. You can't tell me Gammoth was too slow if they had the guts to bring in Basarios into this game. If they can bring Basarios into a quote-unquote fast game, they can bring Gammoth into it. But that aside, that is the tier list. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with my choice? Do you guys disagree? If you guys are gonna argue in the comments, please keep it friendly. I would hate to have to delete comments. Wow, it's 7 hours. This only took 20 minutes. Congratulations, man. For those who have made it this far into the video and stayed till the end, thank you. I will announce this now. I am gonna be uploading another video that will kind of be explaining probably how things are gonna be going down, but also explain what's been going on. I would throw this into this video, however, I want that to be an entire video of itself because, quite frankly, there's just been a lot of bullshit that I had to deal with. And just some unwanted things at that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and also enjoyed all the background music, and oh my god, that is so much louder than I thought it was going to be. Hopefully my audio doesn't get too quiet because of this. Either way, this is like the Holonex coming out. Have a good night, you guys, considering I am recording this at 10 at night. Anyway, bye.